guys, it is the after show for Extraordinary Life.
Yes, we get a chance to go a little bit more relaxed, but we're also going to talk with you and connect. Remember, the goal of this project is community. It's about us sharing and us caring all together.
So this one we decided to kind of do some story shares from our own lives, as this show that we just did was about setting the vision for your extraordinary life.
Yes.
And I mentioned in there that in that process, you're going to change that over time. So I'll share just a little bit of mine, and Chris can jump in too. I got married really young. I think I've mentioned this before, but got married really young through a bad divorce, had ended up on food stamps, had 2 little girls, hadn't put myself through college. So my idea of an extraordinary life then would have been to support my family and not have to share fish sticks. It's that simple at that point. Once we got through college and I got a job with Pricewaterhouse and we got our first rent house, my extraordinary life, even though these are just single things, it's not, all the pillars. That's okay. Like, my big idea of an extraordinary life was to get a house. I was like, we can buy a house. Like, we could get a house. Somebody's going to give us a house. That's how I felt. So. And then you get the house and you start raising your children and you're working along your career. And a lot of points in that time, my extraordinary life was to get to know God more, to go deeper into my faith, to become an adult in the Word instead of a child who went to youth and had all the things. I wanted to know God personally. And so a lot of my focus during those years, while I was doing all the other things that people do, was to focus on God, which is why I got my master's in theology. It was to have time dedicated, because I'm a brain, to have time dedicated to be forced to sit down to study God, theology. And that's exactly what I did. Well, this vision continues to change over and over for me. So right now, where I am in my life, my idea of an extraordinary life, and I've said this in my video, is to do life on my own terms. And that really means to be careful of the commitments that I take, of the business opportunities that I venture into.
Right.
Because I want to be free to take care of my staff and my family as if they're family. That's how we do it around here. And so that's probably the most important thing to me at this point. Now, being a good mother, being a good wife, traveling, eating chocolate 3 days a week, all that stuff too. But really that falls up underneath my top value is freedom. And so my extraordinary life is to be free. Yes. And I've had to redefine that, even in the scope of what does freedom mean to me. I thought it meant one thing and I was miserable. And here's the cool thing. Misery is in your life. Misery, other than circumstances, misery is a great symptom that you can pay attention to dig deep and find out what is the actual root cause that's going on in you. Life looks so good. Everything's great. And I'm miserable.
Yes.
Okay, you need to stop and tap in and go, I've said freedom's my top value, and yet I've put myself in 20 cages.
Yeah, well, I remember you telling me, too, about working with a big accounting firm, excelling, kicking butt, but there was something missing. And not only did you listen to that misery, you did something extra special, which was you took action. You took what some might call a leap of faith, but you moved. Yep. You moved. And unfortunately, I'd love for you to kind of talk about that. Like, what caused you to move? Like, it's easy to identify, I'm miserable, right? Or I don't like this. What caused you to move?
Right, and I will answer that. You know how I am, but I want to preface it with this. The part of the story that you, and probably even, my family, most of them don't know, is that I moved a lot. Okay. So you will move in places and you'll realize that is a mistake and you will have to back up a little bit or shut that door. So being afraid to move into the perfect place, you need to drop that because you're going to move into the wrong places a few times. So I worked for Pricewaterhouse for 8 years, and out of those 8 years, I quit and got rehired 4 times. I quit and got rehired 4 times because emotionally I was in the wrong place. I knew that God had something different for my life. I knew I was supposed to be doing something different than this. And you're like, how do you know? Because I felt it. Everything was great. I was doing great. We were out of poverty and my marriage was great. And I was miserable because during the day, the 12 hours I was there, I was not in my gifting. I was not where I felt like I needed to be. So misery set in. So I left and went to work for another company. And I was like, that's even more miserable. Can y'all take me back? Yes. I did that 4 times.
Wow.
4 times. And then the final time was The commitment to leave that last time actually had nothing to do with me. It was the second question we asked on our show: who would be impacted by this if you did it? And it was my children. Caitlin, my oldest, had come up to me at that point in my career and said, "We want you home." I was never home. And so I made that final move from Price Waterhouse for my family.
Gotcha.
But it was just another step along the journey. And the courage during those 4 leaves and come back, it was just that. It was just the courage and me giving myself permission to say, this is what I think my extraordinary life looks like, and to be wrong. To just be wrong.
Right. Well, and you fixed it.
I did.
Meaning that you, again, thought like a scientist.
Yep.
You kept
Yes,
experimenting,
yes.
Which is so interesting because for me, having being in the financial world and the leadership and about people, and done that for 15 years or more, loving what I did. But the season changed, meaning that I needed to change locations. And instead of working for someone, it was a matter of working with myself and on other projects that I wanted. I realized for me, my extraordinary life, as I said in my video, which I think has gotten more likes than yours.
I'm
I
ahead.
think.
I
I don't want to
Check
digress.
TikTok.
Let's not digress. My extraordinary life is to educate and encourage and empower as many people as possible. And so by that meaning having the freedom and the flexibility to do projects for nonprofits, to projects for profit, projects for my legacy or the things that I want to achieve for my boys. And so that being aware, what's amazing is that for you, you saw it and you made the change. For me, I had to have the Lord help me with some stuff, meaning to close some doors, to end some seasons, as opposed to me having to make the step because I was stuck. Right. And so being able to move forward, as I've come and I've told you everyone about walking through a divorce process, changing after working for many years at one location, being able to move forward now and have these opportunities in front of me of things that I had dreamed about. And so now, instead of hoping and wishing, I've moved into this action phase. And so that's why I get so excited about this project, because I know there are a lot of people that are in that spot. A lot of people that are feeling like, you know what, this is as good as it gets. And it's just not true. And so what we have to do is, in the two respects, Laurie's the idea of making the change, right? And being willing to think, you know what, if that one ain't it, then I'm going to make another one. I love that, because that means there's not a golden step you're going to take. There's not one golden egg that's going to be there. Or for me to have to go through some storms and some tough changes, but to be able to get on this side of it, looking at it as excited as I've ever been about working on projects. And so this journey is fun.
It is fun. And when you're setting your extraordinary life and you're excavating that dream from wherever it is deep inside of you, just be willing to have the courage to walk away from it if it's not what you think it is. We all think it's that. I thought making my first $1 million, I really did think that was the golden ticket. It's not. It's an empty basket of chips. It's just 2 million now and 20 million. And I haven't made those numbers, but it's just the idea of it's just an empty basket of chips. Like, one of the dreams that I've had my entire life was to have a restaurant. Since I was a little girl, we waited tables when we were 4 years old. We'd have on the slippers from Walmart, and we'd go wait tables at home. And if there was a party, oh, forget about it. You had 4-year-olds that wanted their tip. You know, it didn't matter if we were serving beer or if we were serving hot dogs. Like, my daddy let us be in the middle of it. And so I've wanted a restaurant my whole life. And so we decided, we did the number work, and we decided this is a risk we're willing to take. The idea of an extraordinary life would be that I would be a restaurateur. We did it. It was not at all what I thought it would be. It is a tremendous amount of hard work, which of course everyone knows, but until you get in it and realize you're working 18 hours a day and losing money, it's a very hard place to be. So we did it for 6 months, and then I had to make a serious, extraordinary life adjustment.
I remember.
And say, I am going to lose some money. I am going to lose some face in front of all of these people, and that's perfectly okay, because this is my one life. I thought I wanted it. I don't want it. It's getting shut down.
And I remember talking with you and Jacob, and you all walking through. You all were so clear on what you wanted, and you were absolutely clear on what you didn't want.
That's right.
Right?
And that's what this vision did.
And that's one of the things as we walk through this. us understanding what we want, but what we don't want. And sometimes you're going to have the courage, and I love the courage word, to try to be able to move forward. But here's the thing. You're not stuck. You've just stopped. And so what we have to do is to pivot and make another move, right? And again, there's a process to this, and we're going to dig into it of how do you set yourself up to make those changes, right? I can see some of the questions already starting to come in of people going, well, how do I go about? And we're going to get into the tactical side. But I think it's really important for us to set this table. See what I did?
Yeah.
Because we said the 4 pillars.
Yeah, I totally.
You don't know.
Just check the
4
TikTok.
pillars.
It was me. I got more votes.
Okay. The 4 pillars are heart, mind, spirit, and body. And Laurie talks about in episode 2 that those are the legs of the table. And what we're trying to do is literally help you set the table for your life. And what we all get to do is the choice to decide. And so I'm excited. I really and truly am. I know this is going to encourage people. This is going to follow my mission, which is to educate, encourage, and empower. And I know we're going to do that with this project.
Absolutely. So as you set your vision, which is the whole point of episode 2, just know, like Chris said, this is not the golden egg. It's just the next right step.
That's right.
It's not the last step. It's like the only step. It is the next right step. So be encouraged to do that. And we're going to keep sharing stories from us. And we can't wait to start hearing stories from you too and your extraordinary life journey.
Absolutely. We're going to keep stepping, people. So take one step forward. Let's stay connected. And don't forget, share the information about this show with your family and friends. Let's grow this community.